Today we're going to compare video shots from all my cameras. Was this shot filmed with this camera, or this camera, or this camera, or this camera, or this camera? Actually, none of those. This shot is being filmed with, and I have two of these cameras, one of them's in my hand. Ready? Hey! That's right, I'm filming this right now with this tiny little camera. It's a Lumix GX850. It's got a flip-up screen, micro four thirds, interchangeable lens camera, and this is exactly what I love. I love small, tiny cameras you can fit in your pocket that give you great footage. So today we're going to compare cameras like this with my big cinema cameras, and we're going to see what the difference really is. I think you're really going to like this video. Everything you're going to see is right out of the camera. I'm not going to do any post work, no AI enhancement or anything. I'm going to set each camera as good as I can, push record, pull out the card and show it to you. The colors, everything is going to be right out of the camera. You're going to really be interested to see the difference between the little guys and the big guys. Video, I think, is the way to go because any camera can take good pictures, but video is where you see the difference. I just switched out the lens with the cheap little plastic 12-32 kit lens, and even then, it still looks pretty darn good. Look at this. Here's another camera. Now, I know this one is only 1080, but look at that nice, smooth, creamy background. This, my friends, is being filmed with the world's smallest interchangeable lens micro four thirds camera, the Lumix GM1. Look how small this thing is. You can literally fit it in your pocket. I love this so much. I have 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one I'm filming with right now. I was thinking of actually making a video with these things. So I have one with a telephoto for a close-up, one with a medium, one for a wide shot, and making a video with nothing but little GM1s. I don't shoot RAW or log or LUTs. Everything I do is APSC HD or MPEG right out of the camera. Done. Now, I'm going to compare these cameras. You're going to see all the differences between all the different cameras. And I know the professional ones, the cinema cameras and all that, have all kinds of buttons and knobs on the outside, more functionality, they have more outputs and all that stuff. But what you see visually, how much do you really see a difference? So let's compare today the little guys with the big guys and see what they look like right out of the camera. Are you ready? I think you're going to have fun with this. Here we go. I'll be using hard lighting from a couple of Godox RS60s, no softboxes, so it'll be more challenging. Let's start with the classic Canon C100 Mark II. It only shoots 1080, but it downsamples from a 4K Super 35 sensor. File sizes are really small and no need for external recording. The stuff from the SD card is just as good. It's probably the most fun and easy to use of all the cinema cameras, and the cheapest. And speaking of 1080, here's the little Lumix GM1 again, the smallest interchangeable lens micro four thirds camera in the world. Let's compare these side by side. On the left is the big C100 Mark II. On the right is the tiny little Lumix GM1, a camera the size of a deck of cards. Now obviously cinema cameras and camcorders can run all day without overheating, and little pocket cameras can't. But as far as what your eyes see in video quality, I'm happy with both. And these little guys are so much more fun and easy to use. Alright, stepping up to APS-C in 4K. This is the Sony 6300. Back then when these cameras were made, they were still mainly photo cameras. They weren't really made for video. They could only record video for a short bit of time before overheating. But it looked pretty good. This is back when the Sony colors were warmer colored than the newer cameras. And moving up to full frame in 4K, we have the compact Sony A7C. And like I said, the colors are a little cooler with these newer cameras. So to compensate, I set the white balance up to 5800 for this instead of daylight. It's full frame, it's 4K, so it's nice and sharp. There's very little bad stuff you can say about the new full frame cameras, except full frame stuff is bigger and heavier, especially the lenses. But the stuff looks great. And this is what the A7C footage looks like in 1080. Not bad. Here's the C100 Mark II on the left and the A7C on the right. And keep in mind, as the years go by, dynamic range and autofocus get better. Alright, the A7 III shooting 4K. This camera was also made for picture taking, not really video. It'll also overheat after a short while. Here's a Sony AX100. This is a classic 1-inch prosumer 4K camcorder. Like other Sony cameras, I love the colors of the early cameras more than the newer ones. And look how sharp it is. Super sharp. Colors are great. And it's easy to use. And they're not that expensive anymore. And here's the newer Z90V. See what I mean? The colors just, I hate the colors on this. It's sharp. The autofocus is great on this. No matter what you do, you'll be in focus. But the colors are just, ugh. And the AX700 is kind of like this also. And of course, it's 4K. Here's a Canon 1-inch camcorder, the XA70. It's sharp, has a nice, pleasant, soft look to it. The colors are but it does good quality stuff. It's a dependable camera. It's a workhorse. But the colors don't really blow me away. Now here's the Canon G70. This is a little 1/2.3-inch sensor. The colors are so much better on this one, and it's cheaper. 1/2.3 is a typical small consumer camcorder sensor. Now this is still a clunky camcorder. Wait till you see some of the little pocket cameras that have the same size sensor. Here's a Lumix G7, probably the most lightweight mirrorless camera I've ever held. It's micro four thirds, it's shooting 4K. You can put any micro four thirds lens you want on there. And look how this looks. It looks great. This looks really friendly and nice. This is such a fun camera to use. Here's another micro four thirds camera, the little Lumix G100. This is the smallest new micro four thirds camera you can buy. Interchangeable lens, viewfinder, flip out screen. I love this camera for vlogging. 4K, very small camera. It uses smaller, more lightweight lenses than full frame, and it's a lot cheaper. All right, here's a bridge camera, Lumix FZ2500, shooting 4K. These have super long zoom lenses for people who like to take pictures of birds and animals and stuff. It has a 1-inch sensor. I like to mess with the settings for different looks like this. On Lumix cameras, I like to set eye dynamic on high, which boosts dynamic range without having to shoot RAW or log. It's a heavy camera. It's like holding a brick. Now here's a small pocket camera with a 1-inch sensor, a Lumix LX10. Super sharp lens, fits in your pocket, it shoots 4K. But again, the Lumix 1-inch consumer sensors I don't think have the greatest color depth for skin tones. But it is a super sharp lens, and it does fit in your pocket, and it does shoot 4K. And it has a 1.4 lens, so you can get a little bit of background blur with a pocket camera. All right, here's the smallest 1-inch sensor interchangeable lens camera in the world, the Samsung NX Mini. It's the size of a deck of cards. You can change the lenses. It has a flip-up screen. It only shoots 1080. They don't make them anymore, but it's such a fun camera to use. It's literally the size of a deck of cards. The skin tones like to have a lot of yellow in them, but I guess that's better than green or blue. But this camera is so much fun to play with. I wish Samsung still made cameras. All right, now here's a Panasonic Pro 1-inch sensor. This is a UX90. It shoots 4K. It has better colors, better dynamic range, obviously a million buttons and dials on the outside because it's more professional. Out of all these kind of camcorders, I like this one the most. It's the friendliest to use. It's really lightweight, actually. It doesn't weigh much. And I like the look. It's got a really friendly, professional look to it. All right, another 1-inch sensor, my favorite Sony RX100 Mark 7. A tiny little pocket camera that you can literally fit in your pocket with so many features. Probably the highest quality pocket camera in the world. Has a pop-up viewfinder, a flip-up screen, really great lens, really great colors. Here's 4K, it does 4K. But the quality is actually so good, I almost never shoot 4K with this camera. Almost every YouTube video that you've seen of mine for the last 4 years were made with this camera shooting 1080. And here's the 1080. It looks pretty darn good. It's a 1-inch sensor. It fits in your pocket. There are so many times where I have to just whip out a camera real fast and just push record. And this is the most easiest to use, ready to go, pocketable, good quality camera you can get. It's not cheap though. They're like $1,100 or $1,200. For YouTube, the RX100 shooting 1080 is good enough for me. The file sizes are smaller, they edit quicker, and I have a life. Here's a classic Pro Cine Alta 3-chip camera, the Sony PMW EX3. This came out in the early days. It only shoots 1080, and it's an older technology. And you can kind of tell by looking at this, it's got that older look from the early 2000s. I don't think it really holds up with the newer stuff, but it's an impressive looking camera, and that's what matters to some people. All right, another 1-inch sensor bridge camera, the Sony RX10 Mark IV. This thing is super sharp, really high quality. Has a super zoom, just like the FZ2500. There's no flip out screen, so you cannot see yourself, so it's kind of hard to vlog with it. You kind of got to be behind the camera to use it, but the quality is pretty darn amazing for a 1-inch sensor. Super sharp. Color's really good. The focus is a little iffy sometimes with this camera, but the quality of the video and the images are really good. And this also weighs a ton. These bridge cameras are like a brick. And here's what 1080 looks like with this camera. Not bad. Now, I uploaded this video in 4K, so anything 1080 is going to be blown up, so we got to keep that in mind. If only this camera had a flip-out screen. All right, now let's go to a really small pocket camera. This is a Sony HX99. Tiny little 1/2.3-inch sensor. Tiny little sensor, but look at the look of this. Look at the colors. It just pops. I'm just amazed when I see the footage of this thing. Knowing how tiny the sensor is, and it does shoot 4K. Look at this. I'm amazed. I'm just amazed at this little thing. The skin colors look amazing. Here's the G70 camcorder again on the left. Remember I said there are small pocket cameras with the same size sensor? Well, here you go. They both have small 1/2.3-inch sensors. Bulky G70 camcorder on the left, tiny little HX99 pocket camera on the right, the size of a deck of cards. Guess which one I like to use? Now here's a Panasonic pocket camera with the same small 1/2.3-inch sensor, the Lumix ZS80. It also shoots 4K. I like the skin colors on this one too. This pocket camera is considerably bigger than the HX99, but I like this one. It has a flip-up screen and a viewfinder in the back. It's also fun to use. I love this one. I got 2 of these. Now remember, I'm using hard lights here, so it's not really that flattering on the face, but this camera can give you good stuff. And look at the different looks you can get with this little pocket camera. Here's one of them that I created, and here's another one that I created. I'll make a video about different camera settings in the future. I just wanted to show you what kind of different looks you can get with a basic, simple little pocket camera. Pretty cool, huh? All right, my favorite little camcorder, the Panasonic VX981. This also has a 1/2.3-inch sensor. It shoots 4K, but unlike pocket cameras, this thing can shoot video all day long without overheating, and it's so easy to use. You just open up the screen and push record, and it does all the thinking for you. For a little camcorder, the quality is amazing. Alright, another tiny little classic here, the Lumix GM5, the world's smallest micro four thirds interchangeable lens camera with a viewfinder. It only does 1080, but if you want a blurry background with a tiny little camera the size of a deck of cards, with a viewfinder and interchangeable lenses, there's very few choices other than this one. You really don't know how tiny this thing is until you hold it in your hand. It's definitely a collector's item. Alright, speaking of tiny, this is my favorite APS-C camera, the little tiny Sony A5100. It only shoots 1080, but look at this. This is 1080. I think this is the smallest APS-C camera you can get with a flip-up screen that takes Sony E-mount lenses. It's so lightweight, so small. The colors are warm and friendly. This is an early generation Sony. So much fun to use, and I love the look. I love this little guy. That's why I got 3 of them. Alright, the original Sony full frame, the Sony A7. It's full frame, but it only does 1080. This came out in the time when cameras were still made for picture taking. People weren't really into video. So this camera isn't really that great for video. And then lately, all cameras are made for video and nobody really cares about pictures. But back then, when the A7 originally came out, it was all about picture taking. So this isn't the greatest camera for video. Now this is the Sony A7R5. This is my most used full frame camera now. It's a 61 megapixel camera that can shoot 8K video all day long without overheating. It's amazing. Now I don't really do a lot of 8K video, but this is what it looks like at 4K. Colors run a little on the cool side, so I set the white balance to 5800 instead of 56, but really dependable and great for both pictures and video. Here's another shot done with the A7R5. So again, this is my most used camera. It's just great for everything. Not cheap though. And here it is in 1080. This is what it looks like with the A7R5 in 1080. Alright, here's the Sony A7S III, the full frame camera that can shoot in almost virtual darkness. But this camera is mainly just for video, not picture taking. Here it is 4K, and here it is 1080. 1080 is pretty good with this camera. For YouTube, this is good enough, especially since most people are watching on their cell phones. Alright, the Canon C200b cinema camera. Impress your friends. The camera looks impressive, but the footage, it's okay. I don't really think it's better looking than, let's say, the A7C. Here's the A7C on the left, and on the right we have the C200b cinema camera. Let's compare it to a little micro four thirds camera everybody makes fun of. Here's the G100 on the left, and on the right we have the C200b cinema camera. I actually like the colors better on the C100 Mark II than the C200, but that's just me. Alright, the little cheap Sony CX405 with a microscopic 1/5.8-inch sensor. It is tiny, but the stereo audio recording on this thing is amazing. It's actually a better audio recorder than it is a video recorder. No, it doesn't have a mic jack. Alright, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the Sony FS5 Mark II XD Cam Cinema camera. It has an APS-C Super 35 sensor. They're $4,500 new, and you can get them used for like $2,500. It records footage onto annoying MXF files, which computers hate. Here's 4K. And here's 1080. I'm using a Fuji 50-135 lens. It's a good dependable camera, but it's clunky and big and not really that fun to use. And back to the little camera that I started this whole video with, the little Lumix GX850 pocket camera. Bright, happy colors. This does overheat pretty quick doing 4K, but it'll run a lot longer shooting 1080, which looks pretty good too. Here's what it looks like in 1080. And 1080 is pretty good. Remember, this is blown up, but the colors are great, and the thing is fun to use. And we're going to end it with a Fuji XM5, a completely different look than all the other cameras. A nice, creamy, smooth look. Skin smoothing is set to weak. It has a really nice look, but the colors run a little bit on the green side, and the camera is really annoying to use. But it does give you a really nice look. So there you go. You can get great footage with just about any camera if you know how to dial in the settings just right, and that's what it's all about. This final shot, by the way, is being filmed with this little Lumix G100, a camera that everybody makes fun of. But it's good enough for me. I love little stuff like this. That's why I have decided to give away all my cinema cameras. That's right. Some of you lucky people are going to be getting my cinema cameras sometime this year. I'm going to be mentioning it, slipping it in there throughout some random videos, so keep watching my videos. They're too big and clumsy and awkward and show-offy. I'm not here to impress people. I'm here to inspire people. That's what this is all about. I'm showing people how you can make great stuff with something you already have and how to be resourceful and creative with what you can afford. That's what it's about. And then you feel good. You don't feel bad about always wanting the next big expensive thing because somebody else has it. You know, keep it simple, keep it cheap, and make it fun. That's what my channel's about. I hope I inspired you with this video and this channel. I will see you in the next video. Until then, have a good one.